So we're going to continue with our program, but first of all, I wanted to remind you that you have a hashtag on Twitter, Rackspace Solve. So please use it so you can send questions to all of our speakers, all the clients that are telling us today about their success stories. Hashtag Rackspace Solve. I also want to remind you to start completing your surveys and giving us feedback about the event and the talks. We're going to receive them in the afternoon, but if you fill them up as we go, it's all more a better experience and it's pressure. What we're going to do this with the clients is going to be available at the Solve web page. If you want to see that, it's going to be available for you there. So, well, let's continue with our program. And in this occasion, we're going to talk about City Express hotels. City Express is a hotel chain that is growing at the highest pace in Mexico. This, of course, is creating some internal challenges in the infrastructure of technology to support the business and to give it continuity. City Express approached Rackspace to see how we could work together in a project where we could have dedicated servers in their data servers, that are in Rackspace, so we could very quickly bring up the applications and to have them readily available. We're going to see a very short video about City Express, and then we'll continue with our talk. Well, Rackspace, I believe, has unique characteristics like their size, the type of support they provide you, and actually the fanatical support. I believe that is a slogan that is very well adopted. Actually, what we have seen so far is that they are actually fanatical of support. City Express Hotels was born in 2002, 14 years. Now we have 106 properties with a growth of 30% annually. This year we're going to build 21 hotels. Well, of course, we're always looking to improve technologically and operatively so we can take advantage of the options that we may offer to our guests and also guarantee the operation of our chain. We are continuously assessing alternatives, suppliers, products, and at the end of last year, or at the start of last year, we started doing the assessment of the hosting and management of our computing centers. We were looking for more efficiency, better support, the possibility to grow reaction speed, and we did an assessment taking into account 6 different suppliers, and we decided to go with Rackspace because we thought they were the best options. I think that discussing costs and the advantage that we had working with Rackspace is not only the economic proposal on the service, but the increase in the efficiency of operation and the costs that it avoids us in support, indirect costs that we have to pay for to stabilize or to have an infrastructure that is actually readily available for all services. So I think we should consider that as a very significant saving in operations. Very well. I would like to take advantage of this opportunity to invite the CIO from City Express, Mr. Francisco Fabregat. Thank you very much for being here. Well, I want to thank Rackspace for inviting me here to be talking to you. And very well, I want to tell you a little bit about the experience that we had specifically in the migration process, but starting with some of the reasons that led us to choose Rackspace. Well, before that, there is a video about who we are. 11,000 rooms for rest, 2,600 smiles to serve, over 3 million hosts a year, over 100 hotels, we are where you want to get to. Well, with that video, we saved some time from me explaining who we are to you, maybe boringly, but those of us who work at City Express, I can tell you from my own experience, are all very proud to belong to this chain that was started 14 years ago and that has grown consistently. And as you saw in the video, we have 3 million clients. I hope they are happy a year. And we have growth plans, and we continue going ahead. Well, I think that to start with the topic that brings me here, this growth that the chain has had, going from 0 hotels to 106 properties, and we continue growing, has a very specific demand on the technology side. It sounds very easy. We're just going to build more hotels and more hotels. But from the perspective of those of us in IT, we just see how the chain is growing and growing, but we have to give support to that growth. Why? Because all the operational activities of any business in the world are supported in the automatization of their processes and on technology. And as people in the business tell us about the growth plans and we see the efforts to continue growing, when we discuss growth in our chain, we are not only talking about this, we're actually growing. So we are pulled into a continuous process in the IT area about planning that growth. And to plan that growth, we have to continuously look for new options, to continue being alert to what's coming out in the market. And we cannot just be left in our comfort zone thinking that everything that works now is going to continue working forever. We have to look for what the market is suggesting to us to continue supporting this growth. And if we were reacting to how much the chain has already grown, we would be completely paralyzed in our operation. We have to plan ahead at what's going to grow, and we actually plan to 3 to 4 years to the future. And it is very difficult because to know what's going to happen, we almost need a crystal ball to know where technology is going to go, because trends are not very clear in the long run to establish a strategy to know what pathway we're going to take. So in this adventure to look for alternatives in the hosting for our computing services, we considered Rackspace, and we chose them based mainly on some matters of analysis that we did more profoundly that are related to the experience of the company. Why? Because it is also related to what they have done, how they were created, how they grew, what has been the treatment with of the clients, and to see how they have clients that years go by and they continue to work with them. So that continuity, that treatment they give to their clients and their experience that is perfectly grounded were one of the main elements that we considered to choose them. And their experience in the market is also very important because, well, some people would very easily say, I will just establish a computing center here and I'll provide managed services, and many times it's just the services and we see how we work the managed part. But to see that they consistently have their computing centers perfectly built and the managed services are supported by professionals and even beyond professionalism, because they have an amount of knowledge in their headquarters that is impressive. Cost is a very important aspect, of course. Who wouldn't assess cost? If there is someone here who doesn't care about cost, please please tell me about it. I can solve your problem. So lastly, this phrase, fanatical support, at first, I don't know how to say this, but you react maybe wrongly to this. And when we start seeing the inside of the company and you start wrapping your mind around what this fanatical support means, we should tell ourselves that there are some crazy people here, because there are some people that have to be beyond what a provider or supplier usually does to get into a problem and to try to solve it and to maybe solve a query. What was a process? This timer is going very, very fast. You should make something about it. What was our migration process? Well, the key to all of this was excellent planning. And I want to share something with you here. We are not just moving our computing centers every year. We are not experts in moving. So when we arrived, and because we were the clients, we suggested that our moving procedure or migration procedure would be planned like this and this and that. Well, the first thing was, I think this is not going to work very well for you. Why? Because, well, I can recommend you to do this and that. In that planning process, the participation from the people from Rackspace to adapt that plan was the key to success. Actually, it's like if I was moving from one house to another. Yes, I can carry my furniture, I can put them in a truck, and I can unload them in another house. But after my back pain and not being able to move, I moved. But if I call the experts in moving, in 4 or 5 hours I'll be in another house, and I can even complain from the fact that the furniture wasn't well arranged, and as my wife would complain as well. But this involves consulting. This involves the support that we received from the people from Rackspace in the entire process, the co-responsibility that they taught us we should have in the migration process, because it's not all about just giving them the keys and take my car. We have to work with them, and we have to be co-responsible with them in this process, and that is what led us to the success that we had in the migration process. So I would like to touch on a topic very quickly that is very important to us, and it's another value that we saw in hiring this platform. I was asking some people around here who are on the IT side. Well, a lot of them. And who are on the business side? Well, less. Well, you can see that what we're facing here, and you'll understand perfectly, we have two different paces that are entirely different nowadays about the requirements of business and the capability to react from the IT area. This is a quick example. Years ago, our moms would tell us, do your homework, and we would sit down and do our homework because we were all very obedient. So we would, after that, pick up our room, and then we'll go and take a shower. Nowadays, moms do not do that. They say, do your homework, pick up your room, and take a shower. And why haven't you done all this? Then they ask. Well, I need some time to work all that. That's what's happening nowadays between the people in the IT area and the business area. There is a difference in paces in how the business is creating some requirements and the speed to which people from IT can actually react and implement them. Does this sound familiar to you? Has that happened to you, that the business is asking and asking and asking, and then they complain because we are not creating? Well, that's happening nowadays. And honestly, years ago, some people told me, people who worked years ago in IT, that the requirement from the users and the reaction time from IT was maybe more asynchronous. And nowadays we have that pace difference. Why do I bring this to the table? Because we could discuss this for 2 hours if you want. But I'm bringing this up here because among all the things that the IT area is able to do, or maybe it has to do, they have to see how they can provide services quickly how there are modifications in the setup, implementations, and some resources that are moved from one server to another, how they can implement applications, how they can upload and download the image of a virtual server. And we have to work on all that increasingly quicker. We cannot tell the user that we need 35 days to implement their application, and then I tell you how it went. Or that modification, that movement in the database you want, you just have to wait 2 months to see if we can do that. No, it has to be immediate. And to do this, we urgently need to have at reach a platform that will help us do it that way. So, general picture. What did we learn and what do we recommend? First of all, the right planning. Plan, plan, and plan. The first 20 steps have to be to plan. Do not lose your time trying to run in the implementation and at the same time plan, because you will stumble. A lot of people have stumbled, and we have been planning. We received help planning, and we let them help us plan. So that was a very important aspect of our success. Number two, the participation of the experts will minimize the impact. And I would like to link this with the third one, which is a transparent transition. We did a campaign of communication to our users where we told them we're going to migrate from our computing center. We're going to move all our services, and at a given time, your services may not be available. That was the health solution, because we told them in advance that something could go bad. What happened? Nothing failed. The users didn't even realize our migration process. We had a failure in some other service that is not related at all with what we have in Rackspace, and so the user said, yes, the migration you did in your computing center affected my operation. Well, I want to tell you that that problem is not remotely related to what we did with Rackspace. So to be able to achieve this transparent transition to our users was invaluable. So lastly, the famous fanatical support. I want to tell you something, and please hear me. If you want to receive fanatical support, you have to make your entire company understand that they have to be fanatical customers, because it's not worth it for the Rackspace area to provide you fanatical support if you're going to remain there just cold without knowing how to react and what to ask. If you want to get juice from the orange, you have to press it. If you want to get fanatical support, you have to be fanatical customers, and you have to know how to squeeze, how to ask for things to gain advantages from what a company like Rackspace may offer you. And the timer is up, and I still have a lot of things to say, but that's okay. I want to thank you for your patience, and I'm at your service. Thank you. Thank you very much, Francisco. Yes, I think that timer was accelerated. It was very fast. But thank you very much for sharing your story and all the planning that is very, very important. And we love to hear how fanatical support is cascading to our clients and is also inspiring them to be treated in the same way. So it was a great comment. It was an excellent presentation.